You know, I'm glad that more films are starting to do like 28 years later just did and decide not to have a conclusive ending to their movie. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. The Old Guard 2 is here, released on Netflix, starring Charlize Theron. It is a sequel to The Old Guard, which came out in 2020, right around, it was during the COVID hype. Did really well on Netflix, and it was a pretty solid superhero flick. Directed by the director of The Woman King. This time, that director is not around. This time, it is directed by Victoria Mahoney. Um, and I won't say yes, you can tell, but I think the script is what sort of does this movie in the most. For those who are not aware of the story, I don't know why you would be coming into this if you weren't. Sequel to Old Guard follows Andy, a group of immortals, with Niall, Joe, Nikki, her whole crew, and they're going around to do different acts to help humanity. Now, the end of the first Old Guard, this is not a spoiler, Andy loses her immortality. And so now she's doing these missions and whatnot as immortal. Fast forward to Old Guard 2. Uh, anything that was of weight or any consequence in the first film is immediately undone in this film. Whoever had immortalities now going back, whoever was exiled, none of that matters. And the weight of Old Guard 1 is completely upended by this film, which is one of my big faux pas of a sequel. The other is to not have an ending. And this movie, all in all, acts like this one big pilot for whatever we're supposed to get in Old Guard 3, which checks my notes. By the time that comes out, it'll be 2010. So I don't know why we're getting into this routine of creating a story, not quite out closing the story, and then hoping to God that we're able to get a third film. It's a weird practice. I know Star Wars did it way back in the day. Star Wars that do it now know that they're going to be a trilogy. This film doesn't really know that they're. It's not guaranteed that we're going to get an Old Guard 3. But this is assuming that that is happening. I'll even give 28 years later Bone Temple some leeway, and that they know that they're making a trilogy. There's no signs of an Old Guard 3 happening, and if it is, it's going to be way down the line. So this film is assuming that you have an audience locked in to this story for years and years and years, so that you can come back in about 4 years and say, "All right, show me how does this end? How does this all conclude?" I'm not going to lie to you, the story's not good enough for us to come back to. There's some good action beats, but there's a quick about face of everybody's sort of motives and what they what they care for about. Hey, I love being mortal. I'd rather be immortal, and like not showing some sort of emotion from switching from one to the other. It's all done so haphazardly that none of it holds any weight. And so what I'm now watching is just watching superfluous action sequences happen. Superheroes doing superhero stuff for superhero reasons, and nothing has any weight or stakes to it. The other big problem here is that this whole movie was promoted on the fact that you have Uma Thurman and you have Charlize Theron, who I would argue are the two biggest female action stars of the last 2 decades. I know Uma isn't truly known as an action star, but with the Kill Bill thing on her resume, she sort of defaults into that. And so when you look at the trailers and everything, they're pouting this up as being Beatrix versus Atomic Blonde. Like that's what we're going for. And I am fortunately sad to tell you guys that they spend probably less than 20 minutes of screen time together in this movie, and it's only an hour and 40 minutes long. It breezes through, which is unfortunate because I feel like if you gave me 25 more minutes, you could actually finish this movie. Um, but they don't have any screen time. And a little bit of an action beat that they have at the very end is so rushed and not nearly fulfilling enough for how big they build up this court to be. And so, with all of that going, when it's all said and done, she feels very underwhelmed. And I don't know how you get Uma Thurman in this movie and sort of just honestly waste her. And so, again, maybe the hopes are like if we do an Old Guard 3, we'll go ahead and bump up her villainy, her story, her purpose. But here, it all just feels underwhelmed. So it's hard to even give a rating to this movie because what I see here, I won't remember. I don't really enjoy. I don't really like. But it's also an incomplete. Like this is a movie that all the characters are in a spot of like no one is in their final form or final location when this movie is over with, and so a new challenge is set up. And so I don't really have a I can't answer this how I feel about this movie until I finally see a part three and sort of put them side by side. So on my scale of play it again, Sam, I didn't mind that. Once is enough, or give me a time stone so I never have to think about this again. I don't know. As of currently, right now, I'm not going to watch this again. I may by the time like whenever I'm 5 years down the line when Ogar 3 finally does release, I may pop this back on and sort of refresh my memory because you're going to need it. Um, I may revisit this score, but right now it's a once is enough, but a very close to just being an incomplete because this isn't a movie. This is a first episode of something else. That's all I got. What did you guys think about Old Guard 2? Leave your thoughts and comments below. For a movie that has been as delayed as this movie is, you would think that they would already have been filming Old Guard 3 based on the way that this ends and the way that for them to be immortals, people's ages do change drastically over the course of 3 to 4 years. So they might want to get that ball rolling. But if you haven't already, go ahead and follow us on X at HollywoodADI or hit us up on email at HollywoodRDD@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any other place podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.